What's up, you beautiful Redditors? Hope you're having a fantastic Sunday. Welcome to the RNEWS Morning Show, and let's just jump into it. From r/news, Biden wins Georgia and Trump wins North Carolina, the final states to be called. It's all they have left. Turns out owning the libs and pissing off the media isn't really a platform. It is, and it almost worked unfortunately. People would, and probably have, die of COVID to own the libs around where I live. Maybe, although I think more people associate it with Trump being a sore loser. Not necessarily Republicans being a sore loser. Many people voted for Biden, not because they liked him per se, but because they wanted Trump out. There are many voters who don't like Trump, but still like the fundamentals of Republican politics, namely fiscally conservative policies, smaller government, anti-abortion, etc. But Trump won't be on these ballots. So I imagine the lawsuits won't have a tremendous impact on people's voting decisions. Edit. Y'all can stop calling me out for per se now. Still like the fundamentals of Republican politics, namely fiscally conservative policies, smaller government, anti-abortion, etc. You'd think Republican voters would realize by now that their leaders don't give a flying frick about small government or fiscal responsibilities. They couldn't make it any more clear at this point. It's nothing but lip service. So much of it boils down to abortion. It's a shame. There needs to be a concerted effort to educate the public about what happens sociologically when abortion is outlawed, and what they should expect to see. Scores of deaths, back alley abortions, lives shattered, etc. You're watching the RNews Show. From r/politics, Barack Obama says Congress' lack of action after Sandy Hook was angriest day of his presidency. There's a candid picture of him writing down what he was going to say. And he looked devastated. That one really hurt him. Because he's a human with empathy. Trump would just call it a hoax or some horrible crap, as others have. This one. I was at work when I found out about it and I literally crawled under my desk and sobbed. You bottle something up pretending to be something you're not. The pendulum's gotta swing the other way eventually. The higher you take it on one side, the further it's gonna swing to the other. The war was lost after Sandy Hook. If killing 30 preschoolers was not enough for anyone to take action, then there will never be any action taken. Kindergarteners, but yeah, the gun debate ended on that day. Former US Marine and NRA member here. This was when I stopped being a member and openly supporting gun ownership. The mass shootings that followed made it even harder for me to build an argument in good conscience. I still own my weapons but keep it private, and I would definitely support reforms. They really are, and I'm tired of being told to see them with nuance. Make it harder to vote, harder to get financial aid, harder to immigrate. Yet guns shouldn't be made hard to get for people who shouldn't have them. You're watching the RNews Show. From r/World News, Macron calls Biden victory a chance to make our planet great again. The guy against Medicare for all and Green New Deal is going to help the Earth. The guy who emphatically supports fracking. The guy who was VP as Obama opened the Arctic to drilling twice and stood on the sidelines during DAPL and Keystone XL. I see this return to normalcy mantra all over Reddit, but it feels like a lot of people are sugar-coating what normal actually was. Earth itself was pretty Gucci before we started pooping plastics in the oceans and farting garbage into orbit. Does that make Biden Mega Man and Obama Dr. Light? I'd be happier if I never heard make _____ great again. Because I did not get the reference. Make. Minor planet designation 136,472. Make is a likely dwarf planet and perhaps the second largest Kuiper belt object in the classical population, with a diameter approximately 2/3 that of Pluto. Make Pluto great again. Frick you, Neil deGrasse Tyson. You're watching the RNews Show. From r/World News, China congratulates Joe Biden on being elected US president. Says, we respect the choice of the American people. Respect in this case means we do not give our 2 cents on your elections or meddle in your affairs. I don't know what sort of respect you expect. There were a lot of Chinese students in my college. They were all fine with the USA having a democracy, but said it wouldn't work in China because of collectivist culture and lack of education for the common people. Students were all rich relatives of party members or business leaders with party connections. It almost doesn't work in America because of the lack of education among common people. 2 days ago, China won't publicly congratulate Biden. But China is just pretending to not like Biden. It's all an act. Now, you see, of course China would publicly congratulate Biden. Because China likes Biden. He's their puppet. Wait for it. Update. Before, after. You can literally replace China in this sentence with 90% plus of the countries on the planet. People are mad that China used diplomatic language. I mean, seriously. Classic Redditors on this sub. First talking crap about China for not gratulating Biden and now giving China crap for sending their gratulations. You're watching the RNEWS show. From r/politics, Elizabeth Warren urges Joe Biden to cancel billions in student loans. This could free up a lot more disposable income by removing interest payments. Something the economy desperately needs to be kickstarted back into running order. Which is why even the smarter among the wealthiest love it. They know it's one of the things destroying liquidity on the lower economic classes. They figured out real quick that if people can't buy their product or service, their profit-making abilities freeze up. They didn't figure that out in school or experience. It really isn't that complicated. These corporate robber barons received the lion's share of the Trump bailout. Small business got the shaft, which furthered the corporate interests. Why would you care about loan forgiveness if the government is willing to cut out the middleman and pay you directly? Loan forgiveness would absolutely help jumpstart the economy. But that's plan B since Uncle Sam has shown his self-created monsters are too big to fail. Don't forget this as Republicans demonized higher education and compel their constituents to abhor handouts for the other side. Especially since Trumpism loves the uneducated, as fascism is usually rejected by our educated society. Critical thinkers can see through the lies of a fascist, and even with Trump being diet fascism, there are plenty of Americans who idiotically fail to see these red flags through their rose-colored glasses. I just paid off the last of my 100K student loans, so I would not directly benefit from this. We should absolutely do this. You're watching the RNEWS show. From r/World News, Britain's Boris Johnson refers to Trump as America's previous president. Oh no, anyway. Right, the media does as much harm as Trump's lackeys when they make news out of every rational human being, acknowledging simple facts. It's the exact same crap they did with climate science for decades and only recently began openly talking about how damaging it was. BBC is an interesting case study considering they're nowhere near the worst offenders. Seems they all learned nothing. U2.be. I always like to give a more radical example. Nazis, let's kill all the Jews. Jews, let's kill none of the Jews. Media, let's discuss and maybe meet in the middle and kill half. Freaking no. Sometimes one side is just plain wrong. There is no middle ground and there is nothing to discuss. And for the fact he won't have a conservative counterpart across the Atlantic anymore. He didn't have a conservative counterpart across the Atlantic in Trump. The UK Tory party sits vastly closer to Biden than the GOP, never mind Trump. Not to mention that Boris and Trump are on the opposite sides of most of the international issues. In any case, climate change, Iran, China, Russia, trade etc. Oh, and Boris called Trump unfit to be president too. The reason Trump and Boris are linked is essentially Trump calling Boris UK Trump in a weird attempt at praise more than it is anything else. And that damaged Boris more than anything else. That's just wrong. Even Biden himself would tell you that Trump is the current president. And that's where we're going to end today's show. But if you like what you saw, leave a like. And if you want to see more of the RNEWS show, hit that subscribe button. As always, this has been the RNEWS show and I'll see you tomorrow.